do now, brain teaser, arrange the numbers into factor pairs that all have the same product. Key word there, product. Use each number only once. So what it's telling you is you're picking factor pairs to where you end up with the same product every time. What are you multiplying together to end up with the same every time? And remember, we can multiply our fractions times our what? Whole numbers. So think about that for a few minutes. I want to give you a few minutes to be thinking about some of those. Try to put some of them together. Try multiplying some of them. Try multiplying some of them together and see what you get. See what products you do get. But ones that you work on, write them down in your space there to practice. Tell me when any of you find the same product. Raise your hand for me and let me know, please. Come up with anything yet? Anything you're finding in common? Okay, stop and think for just a minute. Can I have your attention? If we take 12 times 18, that's going to give us a big number, right? There's no way then I'm going to take 1/6 times 24 and get a big number like that. Because when we take a fraction of a number, it's taking a piece of it. So think about it as maybe working with your fractions and then your whole numbers together. So think about it for a minute, or try this one for me. I'll kind of lead you into it. Take 1/8 of 24 and see what you get. Okay, so our product for that one ended up being 3. Okay, then maybe if we chose that set, then try another set to see if we still get 3, maybe. So, or see if it comes out something different. Look at your numbers carefully. I think Alan might have found something. That face lit up. Okay, Alan, tell us what you found. And then you get 18. Times the 18, you get 3. 1/6 times 18. Okay, think about it. So what's our product then? Okay, I kind of led you into it just a little bit to help you out, because I seen some of you were working, you were doing great, and you were trying to multiply, but some of you might have been doing fraction times fraction and so forth. If we had 4 fractions here and we have 4 whole numbers here, in my mind I would have been thinking possibly, okay, timesing a fraction times a whole number. And when Alan went through and trying to check some of those, first Erica gave us 3 when she did 1/8 and the 24 for me, but then we started noticing a pattern, and this is the thing, guys. This 1/8 goes with our 24. 6 into 18, 3. 4 into 12, what? 3. 2 into 6.
Wesley Howe, come
So
on,
there's your
please,
pattern.
Wesley Howe.
Right? All right, so let's go on. Any questions with that so far? Now, any questions at all? We understand? So I kind of led you into it a little bit, but sometimes these are a little tricky for us to do. So let's talk about our connect now. And this kind of just brings us back to our previous unit or block on this, or actually it's not our block, it's our topic. It was in the last topic that we just did. We're on block 8, topic 2, lesson 1, so this was in topic 1. And in this one, guys, we're just kind of bringing back prior knowledge. 22.78 plus 12.39. What did we do to the 2278? What did we do to that one? What did we do? We estimated, we rounded it, didn't we? It goes what? Up or down? Up. And then for $12.39, if we think about it that way, it rounds down. And then when we add these two together, we get 35. So we're estimating that these two added together, or the sum of them, is going to give us 35. And then all we did was we took our place values. We said we had 20 and 10, 30 tens total. Then we had 4 ones. And then we are looking at 10 tenths. And then out of hundreds, we had 0.17. We add all that together and we get 35.17. So yes, it was reasonable, and we did this on previous lessons, so we needed to bring back a few things. All right, so any questions about that? We're going to have to use that, you know, all the time when they pull back our connect, that's so we can use it later. All right, we've got to teach, and of course, we always do. We have a video. So Miss Bowen is going to play that video now. Please stop for a minute. Don't be writing anything, and listen to it. And then that way we can understand on what we're doing today, that we can get through the lessons. And this will tell you your I can.
Multiply decimals by whole numbers.
This is your I can today.
Maria manages a doctor's office for 5 hours every Saturday. She just received a raise in her salary of 86 cents an hour. How much more money will she earn each Saturday? 86 cents is 86 hundredths of a dollar. Maria's additional pay for 5 hours of work is 5 times 86 hundredths. Let's start by estimating the product. We know that 86 hundredths is between 8 tenths and 9 tenths. So the product of 5 and 86 hundredths is between the products of 5 and 8 tenths and 5 and 9 tenths. We'll use equal groups to find the products. 5 groups of 8 tenths is equal to 40 tenths, and 5 groups of 9 tenths is equal to 45 tenths. So our estimate for the product is between 4 and 4 and 5 tenths. Now we'll calculate the product. I'll write 86 hundredths as a fraction with 100 in the denominator. This will make the multiplication easier. Then we'll rename the fraction as a whole number times a unit fraction, or 86 times 100th.
Okay, I want to stop it here and recap this. So what we've done now is she brought the 5 over, our times, and then this right here, our 6 ends in hundredths position. That's why it's 86 over 100. And then what they've done is they brought the 5 down times, and then they're moving their 86 down, and then they're saying 86 times 1 over 100. Because 86 times 1 would be 86, correct?
Now, we can multiply the whole numbers first. 5 times 86 is 430. We can rename the expression as a fraction, 430 hundredths. You've learned how to rename a fraction as a decimal. 430 hundredths is equal to 4 and 30 hundredths.
All right, now, and when we go to do this today, there's one part in here, I'm not sure if they finish up the video, but 5 times the 86, they get the 430 here. Now, when we go to do some of these today, it may be a little harder to sit down and figure that out. You know, you can use your calculators, but in our books, it's asking us to take this and use distributive property, breaking up the 80 and the 6, and then doing 5 times 80, 5 times 6 in there. So that's what we're going to get to today when I show you these problems. So we're going to break them down over to the side. They just went ahead and said 5 times 86 and got the 430. And then it's 430 times 1 is the 430 on top over 100. 2 decimals, my decimal's at the end, I move it 2 places to the left.
5 times 86 hundredths is 4 30 This means that Maria will earn $4.30 more from her raise in pay than before. Last, we'll compare our product to our estimate. 4 30 is reasonable because it's between 4 and 4 5/10.
So they estimated for this amount to fall between 4 and 4.5. Did it? 4.3. Is it between those two? Yes. Okay.
Answer is reasonable. Writing a decimal as a fraction helps us to multiply a decimal by a whole number and helps Maria figure out how much more money she earns.
Okay. Now, Ms. Bone wants to pull the next one in. So, I'm going to do this one for you. Listen, if I'm not mistaken, looking at this, this is your first one. It's your actual model one. They call it our worked example in your book. So be looking at the worked example as I go through this one, okay, and follow along. So in this one, and I'm going to try marking. I'm hoping this marker is going to work again. Remember, Ms. Bone had some problems with her board, but hopefully it's going to work now. So now we have .24. I didn't need to put my 0 down. So now we're going to turn around and say 3 times, and it should be 24 over 100. This ends, the 4 ends in hundredths position, so I put it over 100. I've changed it from a decimal to a fraction now. Notice that, decimal form to fraction form now. Okay, so now what they showed us to do is to take our whole number times the 24, and I need that to try to come off there, maybe because I've got that on there, but oh well, it's going to have to do. So 24, if I have to, let's put it over here. 3 times 24, because for some reason that's showing up there. All right, and then it's times, does anybody remember what my fraction needed to be? What did I change now if I have it over 100? What's on top? I hear 1, I heard 24. 1, guys, it's a 1. Because look, I've already taken my 24 that was over here, pulled it down to the side. So now, my new number on top is a 1. Now, I'm going to turn around and say 3 times 24. All right, I said, here's where we can do distributed property. And here's what Ms. Bowen wants to see today. So I'm going to take 3, and I'm going to say times 24. I'm going to say, break it down to 3 times, and then it's going to be 20 plus 4. So now, 3 times 20, and then 3 times 4. That makes getting my total amount easier, okay? Now, that is if you didn't have your calculator in front of your hands. Your calculator is going to help you out. 3 times 20 is 60, plus 3 times 4 is what? 12. 60 plus 12 is 72. So now we end up with 72 times 1 over 100. Now all I do is say 72 times the 1, which now gives me 72 over 100. And then, if I look at that and write it as a decimal, pull the whole number down. Remember we talked about before in a previous lesson, my decimal's at the end. I move it 2 places to the left because I have 2 zeros. I end up with decimal what? 72. So that's my answer. Now, the only thing that we didn't do on this one yet, and I apologize for this, let's go back and let's do our estimation. Let's figure out how we estimate these or how they estimated them. When I take a whole number and I times it by a decimal, guys, I'm taking a part of that whole number. So if I have 3, let's say we have 3 candy bars, and I take a 0.24 of it, then pretty much I'm looking for the 0.24 that I pull out is going to be less than 3 at least, right? Because I have 3 candy bars and I'm going to take a section of
the Dietrich interview needs to report to the guidance office. That's any student that did the Dietrich interview, report to the guidance office.
All right. Any questions? Do we think we could do the next one together? Could I possibly get a volunteer? Maybe. No? Let's see. All right, we're gonna go to guided practice, and it looks like Ms. Bowen's gonna have to erase that one off there, so give me just a second. Because a lot of times with the board, that's what ended up happening. Okay, now, and let me see if I can pull that mouse down. That may be what our situation is. When I pull the mouse over to the side, when I pick up the color now. All right, so let's go to our estimation, and let's do our estimation first. So if I have 8 candy bars, and I'm only taking up 0.15 of them, then it's going to be greater than or less than my whole number or my decimal. What do you think? Less than what? Is it going to be part of that decimal or my whole number? Okay, she says the decimal. Think about it. Let's say we got 8 candy bars sitting there. I always love candy bars. I use candy bars as an example. Miss Bowen loves candy bars, especially since we've been selling a lot of them too. It's a situation where, looking at this, guys, when you're doing an estimation, we have 8 of them, and the 0.15 means we're taking just a little part of those 8. So we know we have at least 8 of them. So our estimation needs to be less than the 8 we have. Because if I take a 0.15 away from the 8 candy bars, am I going to have more than 8 candy bars? No, I'm having less than what I had, right? So that's why, let's kind of estimate it that it is less than whatever our whole number is. So in all the problems that you're doing today, it's always going to be our estimation. Since we're taking a fraction or a part of the total 8, it needs to be less than what our whole number is. And our whole number in this one is 8. Okay. Anybody want to come up and try this? Come on. Any volunteers? Oh, we're not going to have any volunteers today? All right, I guess Miss Bowen will go through this then. All right, I do need your help, however. You're ready? And some of you, I see you're trying to start on some of it because we're understanding it now, right? So we're going to say, I'm going to rename and say 8 times 0.15. We are going to say 8 times, and what am I writing? Can someone give me the answer to this one as a fraction? Caitlin? 15 over 100. Excellent. All right. Now, can anybody tell me what the next step was? Raise your hand for me. Can you tell me what the next one was? Yes, ma'am? Separate what? 15 and the 100, right? We're going to pull it over and say 8 times my 15 times, and what's my new fraction become? 1 over 100. Excellent. Thank you very much, sir. So now, Erica, can you tell me what I actually multiply together now?
Trish Williams, can you come out of the front office, please?
Okay, so we
Trish
say
Williams.
8 times 15, and we're going to get our new answer to that. 8 times 10 is 80. 8 times 5 is, so I'm going to go ahead and write it down. We'll say 8 times the 15. We say 8 times 10 plus 5, which would be 8 times the 10, and then 8 times the 5, and then I'm adding those two together. This gives me 80, this gives me 40. How much is that total? Good job, 120. So now we have 120 times 1 over 100. So now it becomes 120 over 100. And then if I take my 120, my decimal's at the end, I'm going to move it 2 places to the left. Carrie, what does it become for me? My decimal is here and I'm moving it 2 places to the left. What's my final answer? Moving it 1, 2. Here's my 1. What's my final answer? Do you know it? Mason? 1.20. You see that, Carrie? 1.20. We just move it 2 places. Do we seem pretty comfortable with this? Do we need to see another one? Are we okay in our books? All right, next few minutes, I'm gonna give you a little time to finish those up. When you get those done, then you can put your books up and go ahead and get your computers. And then I will just hold on to the computer, go ahead and sign in, and then I will pull up for you what you need to be able to do your scratch quiz today. Questions, just let me know, please. Remember, any questions, please, just raise your hand. And to save you a little bit of time today, guys, you can go ahead and use your calculators that a minute ago when we said 8 times our 0.15, you can go ahead and just say 8 times 15, okay? That'll save you a little bit of time. Because I would like for us, we're going to try to get to, you're going to do your scratch quiz. And then after we finish our scratch quiz, I'm going to talk to you some about your rubric, pull that up, hand it out to you, and you can go ahead and be working on your scratch projects to be trying to get those finished up. At least if we can, I'm going to try to have you all, you'll have to finish them up probably that week we come back from spring break. I'm trying to have them finished for me and completed. it looks like some of you are finishing up and you're getting on your computers and everything. This is your website to do the quiz. Look at it carefully, punch it all in, please. And when you start the quiz, pull it up to full screen and then listen and watch everything that's going on in it, please. Listen to what it asked you to answer the questions. Pay close attention. If you have any problems with it, hopefully it will pull you right to where you need to go to do the quiz and go through, and hopefully the quiz, the scratch program will work. You won't have any issues with it. It was working the other day. Okay, I see Aaliyah's coming up. Now, you'll see a little box above in blue that pulls it to full screen. Then all you have to do is click and you can start. Anyone else having any trouble? Okay. What we need to do is lock in, pull up the screen. See all that right there? Top in. Top in at the top. It should be. All you need to do, hopefully guys, we had a little bit of situation with this one, but I will try to work with that. All you have to do is open up the
Senior
web browser
transcripts are ready for pickup.
and go ahead and put all of this in, please. We've had, what, 3 interruptions already? Possibly should have said, try to keep the interruptions down. Did it work? Okay, now, are you logged in? Okay, start that way. Okay, everybody else on? You might want help. It's fine. Okay, we created you using a password. Come on, let's. Wait, hold on. pull it to full screen, please? Okay, let's try. No, you gotta do up here. Is that what happened? Okay. I'll try it again. When you're finished with the quiz, you know where to put your answers. Everybody else on? Okay. You can pull it up to full screen if you want to. Yes. So, just be careful with what, if it's just asking you just that answer, just pick that answer. You don't have to show me all of it, just an answer. Okay, there's no way to put everything in, just give me your answer. Cause it's gonna ask you, guys, it's gonna ask you specific things, just, you can only put in one answer, okay? Like, be careful if it's asking you for it in fraction form, or if it's asking you in decimal form, okay? So think about that, estimate. When you get them done, then turn it into the box, and then you can come back and you can work on your scratch project. And Ms. Bowman's gonna go over your, okay, rename that as a fraction. Think about what we just did today, how would you put that as a fraction? Okay, you've gotta use the divide sign. Okay. For a fraction, guys, you gotta kinda use that divide sign in there, okay? To make it a fraction, you're gonna use your divide sign. Now, if the bell were to ring, please hold off for a few minutes, and then I will tell us when we can be released for us to take a break, okay? It should have let you, so that you do the. Okay, we'll take care of it in just a minute. Let's do this, we're done with this. Perfect. Remember to write your answers down, please. It's asked you to write your answers down on the piece of paper. That's what Ms. Bowen's gonna grade. So once you get that and you put it in, and then put what your final score said. No, just the answer. Thank you, good question. Yes, put total points. Total points are up in the top. It'll say student 1, and it'll tell you what your total points are at the end. Put that down there on the piece of paper for me, please. see if it'll let you. And what you may have to do is do a different, email. You may have to connect to a different email. You don't have one, you don't have one email, then try connecting it to it, so we'll see if it works. If it don't, I'll try to retrieve it somewhere, if we can. Okay. Okay. Now, you can get out of it when you're doing your scratch project. Now, while everyone's working on your quiz, and I know you're focused, and I apologize for interrupting you, but I have handed you your rubric for your scratch project. And in a moment, when everybody finishes the quiz, I would like to at least talk about that for a few minutes. And then I want you to be working on your scratch project the last part of this class. Like this next class period, you're gonna be working on it, trying to finish it up and get as much done on it as you can. Okay, so that was your one. You just can't remember the password? Is that what it is? Okay, what you may wanna do then, see if there's a way that we can go through, let's close this, if you remember that's what it was. Okay, then turn around and we'll hit sign in, say need help, and let's see if it'll do, password reset. So, if you know that email address, put it in. Yeah, the one you connected that one to. And then say, send me a password, and go to that email, try to open it up, and see if we can do it that way. Done? Okay. Okay, be sure that you have put your score at the bottom, please. Or somewhere on your paper showing your score. You will send it. Send me a password reset. So it's going to send it. Now you have to go to that email and try to get into that email and see if you can find it. And it will let you reset the password. Where's that email through? Okay, try it. See if it'll go there. Yes, to go get it, because you've got to reset. If your mail is through that, are you sure? Is it Google, Yahoo, what? I know it may be that, but what I'm wanting to know is that, because you usually, it's not necessarily Facebook.com, it's like gmail.com or it's yahoo.com. Is it what one? Because you just put it in, what was at the end of it? Okay, it's at Yahoo, go to yahoo.com, yahoomail.com. Please read through the rubric, because we've talked about what needed to be in this. Ms. Bowen went ahead and gave you the final copy of the rubric to let you know everything. Now you can actually log in, sign in, Alan, and find yours. Okay? Is it working? Just sign in. Hold on, please, just a moment. We'll go to our break here in just a few minutes. Want everybody to finish up the quiz at least, and then we'll get started with our projects, and then we're gonna be working on that a little bit next class. Yes. Yes. Yes, that's good. try to see what we can do in a little bit, okay? We may have to have you just work on your math 180 for right now, and then we'll try to retrieve that. So go into math 180 and try it for a little bit, okay? Finish. And then up. Okay, please stop for just a minute. I know some of you are going ahead and you're working on, but I want to talk about the rubric for just a minute, please. And then I will let you go ahead and continue working on your project. Okay, here's the rubric. Ms. Bone kind of made it as simple and easy as possible to make it, to help you understand it a little bit. Sprites, you know that's your people that you're putting on there. If you've created your own, you're going to get to a 4, you know that. If you have more than 2 sprites and you've possibly changed some of their costumes in there, color or whatever, then
Mr. Mike Jude's carpentry class needs to stay here today. He will be here in a few minutes. Mr. Mike Jude's carpentry students need to stay here. Mr. Jude is on his way.
okay, to get a 3, you have at least 2 sprites and you have changed their costumes. This one was more than 2. You have 2 sprites and you have changed at least 1 sprite's costume and from 1. So you can read through. Background, you've uploaded your own, a picture you might have took. This one is you have uploaded a picture that you have researched. This one is you just picked one of theirs, and that one is you don't have a background. Motion, you have at least motion on some of your sprites in there. Dialogue, you've got some dialogue going on, and the biggest thing, focus on the questions, please. Look down at the bottom of how many questions you have to have. And we know that to use that if-then information on there. But if you need help with that, in a moment, Ms. Bowen's going to pull up her quiz example. You just took it, and I'll show you what my programming looks like to make it easy for you. Okay? All right, so everybody should be working on their Scratch project now. Here's how you do your questions. So if you are started and got everything else on there for your questions, you are going to use an ask, which is in your sensing part. You're going to ask your question, then you do an if-then. You have your green, which is your operators. Then you have blue again, which is sensing. You're putting in your answer. If-then, say this, change your points, even if you want to put a point scale on there. But this shows you everything. And guys, the colors match up. If this is purple, that's looking at looks or motions or whatever. So look at them. I think this is blue, this is purple. Just look at your colors and it matches up. That's where these come from. So you can look at my examples to help you out. Here's how you start asking your questions, a very simple version of this. That's how I created your quiz yesterday.